points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue and on our YouTube channel, wherever you may be, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Alongside Dave Manouk, alongside Ezra Ginsburg, alongside countless others. If you're here at Boston Pizza Winnipeg, make some noise, folks! There you go. A tremendous turnout tonight to watch the Winnipeg Jets defeat the Colorado Avalanche by a 4-2 score. It's all part and parcel with the Illegal Curve holiday party. We say happy holidays. We say happy first night of Hanukkah for those who are celebrating. It's been a great night here at Boston Pizza Winnipeg, made all the better for those who cheer for the Winnipeg Jets by their impressive road victory against the Colorado Avalanche. The best way to bounce back from losing 3 games in a row, gentlemen, is to win 3 games in a row, and that's what the Jets have accomplished with tonight's victory in downtown Denver. Ezzy, good to see you next to me. Dave, good to see you a little bit on the right of me. Good to see both of you. Good to see so many of you here at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue tonight.
Absolutely. Before we get into breaking down the game, I mean, you already kind of gave a shout out to everybody here, but yeah, this is awesome. It's always good when the Jets win. People leave a little bit happier, actually a lot happier. But yeah, this was a lot different than the Carolina game, right? I wasn't on the post-game show with you boys, but I mean, that really was Laurent Brossoit stealing that victory from the hands of the Carolina Hurricanes. Whereas tonight, I mean, this was just an overall team effort. This is a huge win, boys. Obviously, they're not going to, award the Stanley Cup after tonight's game, but I mean, this is who you're competing with for the Central Division title, right? Along with the Dallas Stars, but a really impressive victory against a division rival. We've talked about it. Kind of crazy that this is the first time that the Jets and the Avalanche are meeting this year, Dave, but really impressive team effort. Hellebuck was really good. And, you got a lot of individual nice performances. Really was one of those games where I think everybody had a piece of it. And just overall, I think you got to be happy with that victory, going into the California road trip.
No, I mean, look, it's one of those games that you're not expecting. The Jets have to start the road trip right in Colorado. Not an easy place to go. We were talking to the guys in the room yesterday about playing with elevation and trying to get adjusted to that. And like you said, Des, it's the first time playing in Denver this season. So always a tough task. And look, the Colorado Avalanche have been phenomenal at home. They're 9-2-0 coming into today's game. So they don't lose very often at Ball Arena. And so it used to be Pepsi Center. Pepsi Center. But
I like Ball Arena better.
Yeah, Ball Arena is good. Probably a bank, I would imagine, or something like that. But regardless, it's a huge victory for the Jets. You bring yourself within 2 points. Nashville won tonight. Dallas won tonight. So you continue to bank those points, which are obviously very important. And again, you pick up a win against a Central Division rival. And that, to me, is what's so significant, because Colorado, all we've been hearing about is the Jets beat these teams, but they're not beating good teams. Well, Colorado's a good team, and the Jets beat them. So that, to me, is a real important stepping stone for this club, because, you're going into California. The Kings are playing phenomenal. Obviously, you got the Ducks and Sharks. Those are 2 separate stories. But, again, like I said, you want to start the road trip off on the right foot, and you didn't want this to be a mirage, right? We talked about that. This is, you lost those 3 in a row. And now you're reversing it, and you've got 3 wins in a row. And like I said, now you're just 2 points back of a top spot in the Central Division.
Well, I think what you like from a Winnipeg Jets perspective in tonight's game is that it wasn't like Laurent Brossoit, like you said, as he's stealing the game. It wasn't Connor Hellebuck stealing the game. What you saw in terms of their play, I think, was it was something that can be replicated. So it wasn't an anomaly. It wasn't we won, but we sort of have to hold our nose in stealing the 2 points. They took a lead, and they never relinquished the lead from the start of the entirety of tonight's game. And we'll get into it in, of course, more detail in the Betway game recap, as we move along here, live at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue as part of the Illegal Curve post-game show. But, this was a Jets victory where they certainly looked like they belonged with the Colorado Avalanche. It's not like they were outclassed and they had to lean on Connor Hellebuck and you have to be out of this world in order for the team to be successful. What they did, they can repeat and build upon.
Further to your point, I don't think at any point in that third period, even though at the beginning of the first, let's say 5 to 7 minutes, it was all Avalanche, right?
Right.
But I mean, there's no way we can talk about this game and not mention the special teams, right? The PK is perfect, but killing off a 5-on-3, we've said this so many times over the years. Usually you're not going to win a lot of games when you're not capitalizing on a 5-on-3, right? And it was a shorter 5-on-3. What was it, 45 seconds?
It was long enough that a Colorado Avalanche team can succeed on it.
Exactly. And, Cale Makar, we kind of talked about it here at Boston Pizza. He didn't look like peak Cale Makar. And he's dealing with an injury. I doubt he's 100%.
Yeah.
Nathan McKinnon was certainly visible in this game. And so was Mikko Rantanen. I mean, these are two of the best players in the world. But to your point, I mean, the Jets can skate with the Avalanche. And that's what, I noticed quite a bit in this game. Like you mentioned, Hellebuck didn't have to be, sensational. He still made 32 saves. Yeah. But when the Jets play teams like the Avalanche, this game to me looked a lot like the Jets-Oilers game. Similar type of game, more back and forth, in contrast to the Jets-Stars game, for example, or the Jets-Hurricanes playing those better defensive teams. Not that the Avalanche aren't a good defensive team, but they're definitely, I think you would call them more of an offensive-minded team.
Yeah.
And I think, killing off those penalties, that's got to be demoralizing to Colorado. Down a goal at home, you're not able to capitalize. And, look, the Jets have shown this year they're able to hang on to a lead. They haven't, they've squandered a few leads, but that's been few and far between, right, Dave? So I think, there were parts of this game where you maybe didn't like it and, there was maybe a little too many penalties for your liking. But I think overall, like Drew said, this is a team that you're going to be battling with all year. It's going to be Dallas, Colorado, Winnipeg. I think we all agree it's very top heavy, right, in the Central Division. And yeah, this was just a hard-working road victory, right? And they capitalized on their opportunities. And really, going back to the special teams, it's huge when you can, especially in that first period. Like the Avalanche penalty, I think they only had one shot on their first power play. So I thought the penalty kill was a huge factor in this game, obviously.
Yeah, I think you're right, Ezzy. I think you're hitting it on the head. I think the PK is something that you can't discount what Colorado can throw at you. And sure, people are saying, well, they didn't have Landeskog. Okay, but they have Rantanen, they have Makar, they have McKinnon.
For a year and a half.
That's right. So it's not like that's an unknown thing. And the reality is they're still a very good team. And when you can when you can be 100%, that's a significant thing. And look, again, this was we were curious to see how the Jets would play tonight in Colorado. Were they going to be able to continue? Right? We talked about it. In Carolina, even though I know the last shots were, they'll say, from the outside control, they really tried to, sure they're a high volume, a high shooting team, I should say, in Carolina.
Right.
But they expected a slightly different game because Colorado's more of a speed team.
Yeah.
And that sort of was the expectation. But I thought the Jets handled them for the most part. Obviously, again, they're going to get their chances. McKinnon made Logan Stanley look a little silly with that inside-out move. But again, it's Nathan McKinnon. He makes a lot of guys look silly with his inside-out move. So, again, I think it's one of those games that it was an impressive victory because you're not, like as he said, you're not planning a parade based on a win in December, early December. But at the same time, you have to measure yourself. Look, we've talked about the Jets being really good against the East. Well, you have to be good against the Central, and you already are 0-2 against Dallas. You've had success against Arizona, who's a hot team, of course. So people forget about Arizona. They've won 5 games in a row, and they're charging. You've played well against Nashville. You wanted to have that reputation of being able to go up against Colorado and standing toe-to-toe with them. And I think they did that tonight, and that's a good way to kind of build confidence. The way Rick Bowness spoke today in the morning availability, which was really the afternoon, but the way he spoke
morning in Denver.
I suspect, I haven't looked at the schedule, but they might be off
Sunday. They play again.
No,
Sunday.
I understand when they're playing. I'm saying when they're on the ice again, because
okay.
he said Saturday. So I suspect that tomorrow's a day off and maybe they're practicing on Saturday. But again, like I said, that's more just to see what status with Vlad Nemestikov and that sort of thing. But again, it's just a really good way to start this road trip for this Jets club.
Well, you know what was most impressive to me about their performance is that the structure didn't really change. No matter the point of the game, no matter the circumstances of the game, no matter what the situation was, their game looked very similar and how they attacked and how they defended looked similar throughout. So to me, that is a team that is buying into the system that the coach is preaching to them. This is the Winnipeg Jets team that used to give up high danger chances, by the bucket load.
Right.
And they've been one of the stingier teams at 5-on-5 in the entire NHL this year. And you're waiting for the other shoe to drop on that front, and you're constantly waiting for it. And so far, it hasn't, and there doesn't really seem to be the signs. They were able to maintain how they want to play throughout the course of the 60 minutes, and that's not easy to do against the Colorado Avalanche team, especially when the Avs are trying to press and they're trying to break you down. The Jets were able to maintain exactly how they want to approach the game.
Right, and to your point about the high danger chances, the second period was the only period where it was a little bit lopsided. The Avalanche had 8 high danger chances, 4 at even strength. The Jets had 2. Remember, it was pretty lopsided, the shots. I think at the end of the second period, the shots were a little even, something like 16-12, but you're absolutely right, Drew. That is in contrast to last year. The big issue with the Jets, it wasn't
every year.
Exactly. And it wasn't look, the Jets have never had trouble, like major problems scoring goals.
Right.
It's been defensively, and that's what we talked about. Not just us, everybody, us and Remo, Winnipeg Sports Talk, Kenny and Rennie, everybody talked about, are the Jets going to be able to make those improvements defensively? And one thing, I'm sure we're going to get into this. You mentioned, or maybe it was Dave, mentioned the Nathan McKinnon goal, where obviously Logan Stanley looked a little slower, a little flat-footed.
Yeah.
But that Samberg-Stanley pair, as the game progressed, it looked solid. And you mentioned this. Dylan Samberg deserves a lot of credit for that.
Sure.
Because you look at the advanced stats with Samberg and Schmidt. At one point, they were one of the best D pairs in the entire league at 5-on-5. And I'm not saying that, Logan Stanley, this was the best game I've ever seen from him. But, he was throwing his weight around a little bit, and he looked more comfortable as the game was going on. Now, I personally have time for Declan Chisholm to be in the lineup.
So do I.
And I think a lot of people were surprised, Dave, that Stanley got in over Chisholm. And, you have to wonder, too, about Nate Schmidt. And, at what point do you get concerned about how long he's been in the press box? Because I believe this is 4 healthy scratches in a row now, right? Three. Yeah. So, look, I think it's pretty clear right now that the Jets are going with a rotation. I don't know if we can say with certainty that Logan Stanley is going to stay in the lineup. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Declan Chisholm goes back in. But I think to Drew's point, the Jets look similar from period to period. Last year, you would see it was helter-skelter. One period, the Jets looked good defensively.
One shift to another, it was helter-skelter.
And I mean, I think it was, emphasis. What we saw in the playoffs was just a continuation of what we saw in the second half of the regular season against the Golden Knights. Right. The first game when the Jets won, everybody was saying this series might be over in 5 or 6 games. And then obviously the Golden Knights made their adjustments.
It just was by the other team.
Exactly. But I think you're right. I mean, this was a pretty solid road victory, right? Like the Avalanche, yes, I think they've only won 1 of their last 5 games now, something like that. Like they're struggling a little bit, or without Makar, maybe that's what the stat was. But I mean, look, the Avalanche are going to get another crack at the Jets in a week and a half?
16th, 9 days from now, Saturday night, the December 16th.
Right. So, I mean, look, these teams are going to be battling all year long with Dallas for first place in the Central, I believe. I mean, there might be a little bit of separation at some point, Dave, but I do agree with Drew that, the Jets, even though you could say that last game they got shelled and they were peppered in a little bit and too dependent on Laurent Brossoit, this was not the case. This was about as even a game as you're going to see. Were there stretches where the Jets outshot the Avalanche pretty bad? Yeah, including the beginning part of the third period and the beginning part of the second period. But it's not exactly like Scheifele, Connor, Ehlers were, lighting it up today. I mean, I actually probably thought the fourth line was the best line tonight. Well, first period, David Gustafsson had 2 grade A scoring chances.
I was going to say the comment I highlighted from our friend Dom Zappi is Gustafsson's best game of the year, and I tweeted that because I thought he was phenomenal.
I didn't see that comment from Dom, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
So Dom and I, obviously, great minds think alike.
But the point is that you're right, Ezzy. I really thought Gustafsson was trying to impose his will a little bit, and he was trying to play a little more of an aggressive game, playing obviously on the PK. But he, as he said, it felt like at least 4 or 5 good quality chances on net, and you want that from your fourth line. You want to see your fourth line contributing, and David Gustafsson is a big part of that fourth line. And he knows that based on the way things are going right now, doesn't want to be that odd man out.
Right.
And look, as he mentioned it, and we've gotten away from him a little bit, but I am curious to see what happens now with coaches. Coaches tend not to want to change a winning formula, right? You've now won 3 games in a row, but Rick Bowness's own words were talking about Nate Schmidt, and we won't leave him out for too long, or something to that effect. Not direct quotes, but if you need to watch it, you can watch it on YouTube. We have it on the little channel called The Legal Curve. But
is there anything wrong with the rotation, by the way? Like, I feel like people, as soon as you have a rotation situation.
I'll tell you why the rotation is working. The rotation is working because of Dylan Sandberg.
Well, yeah.
Exactly. If Dylan Sandberg led all the Jets in Corsi.
Give Dylan Sandberg the Norris Trophy right now.
71% was his Corsi 4 in tonight's game.
He was great.
Led all the Jets, not just defenders, all the Jets forwards as well. Mm-hmm. And so if Dylan Sandberg is continuing to be the consistent rock that he's been, and then and it stays at that level, no matter if he's playing with Chisholm, or no matter if he's playing with Stanley, or no matter if he's playing with Schmidt.
He's showing that, right?
Right. Then Rick Bowness is way more comfortable in having that rotation,
right?
Because he knows that he can rely on Dylan Sandberg, and Sandberg will lift up whomever is new or back in the lineup playing next to him in a potentially rotation.
Dylan Sandberg had the best even strength Corsi 4, and that's right. Corsi is not dead. I mean, but like, let's be honest here. Sandberg deserves a ton of credit for how well he's playing.
Yeah,
right. Like, you forget this is only his second year in the NHL, and some people might be tired of us talking about it, but like, the guy is just consistently playing. Like, he's that shutdown defenseman that they've been lacking, and
for sure,
offense will come. I mean, but nobody's expecting a ton of offense. Guys like Josh Morrissey, Neil Pionk, the sniper Brendan Dillon, like, they have other guys on the back end that can produce, right? So Drew's right. Right now, you can put Schmidt, Stanley, Chisholm, and you don't have to work. Sandberg is the rock on that line.
Right.
I still don't necessarily, you don't want to have too many guys sitting, in the press box for 3 or 4 games.
Well, that's why I think they'll probably bring Schmidt back, especially if you're playing like they're playing Anaheim, not exactly a strong team. So you give him a little confidence.
Right.
And you don't, again, Rick Bowness's own words. I mean, you don't have to believe us and think that we're trying to say this is what you should do. It's what the head coach has said. And he's essentially said, like, we're not going to let our veteran sit for too long. So, I mean, whether you agree or disagree.
And also that veteran is making almost $6 million a year, right?
But like, at the end of the day, money is money. And whether it's up in the press box or on the ice, obviously you prefer it on the ice, but you want to do what's going to win games for your hockey club. Right now, I think Drew has pointed out, whether it's Declan Chisholm or Logan Stanley or Nate Schmidt, Dylan Sandberg is elevating his partners right now.
That's right.
So realistically, you can really have that rotation working until if Nate Schmidt gets back to kind of the form you want him to be in, or again, like, ultimately they're gonna have to make a decision. You've got Ville Heinola back on skates. We documented it on the.
He's back on the ice, and he's not in flip flops this time.
He's not in flip flops, no, but he is skating, and so we saw that.
How is Gabe Velarde's knee brace? I think we should talk about that a little bit more.
But the point is that Heinola is on the ice, and he's Rick Bowness' own words, a ways away.
Right.
So he's not coming back anytime soon, and he's going to go and play for the Moose, even though he would, for whatever reason, wouldn't say that he would go back and play for the Moose, but he's going to go play for the Moose because you need to get your conditioning up. Same as Declan Chisholm after not playing for 6 weeks. It's been longer for Ville Heinola. So you still have to figure this out, though, because you have to decide what are you going to do. And obviously, as he alluded to, I mean, there was a column from the Ottawa Sun, Bruce Garriock, who basically talked about teams, making calls about Logan Stanley and being some interest. So again, we'll have to see where that goes. But you do have a logjam that you're going to have to address, because ultimately, whether it's Chisholm, whether it's Stanley, whether it's Schmidt, eventually you're going to have Heinola as well. And obviously, he's waiver exempt. You could kick it down the line, but again, are you going to want to do that?
Well, I mean, I think we see the pattern when it comes to the Jets defense. We know that they want to sort of have an offensive guy with a defensive guy, offensive guy with a defensive guy. Morrissey's the offensive guy, DeMello's the defensive guy, Pionk is the offensive guy, Dillon's the defensive guy. We know Sandberg's the defensive guy, so will Ville Heinola be the offensive guy? Will they go out and acquire somebody to be sort of the offensive partner in the duos? And that's not necessarily the conversation for here and now, but it's it's something certainly that the Jets brain trust and the Jets organization are going to have to figure out over the coming weeks and over the coming months. And right now, it's not these are good problems to have when it's not a desperate situation. And they're not in a desperate situation because they are playing such a structured brand of hockey. They're playing as good of defense, team defense, top to bottom, as we've seen in years. I mean, wasn't that long ago where the other team's head coaches were not mocking the Jets, but just commenting about how easy it was to play against them and how easy, it was, how easy it is to get into the high danger areas. And it's not like that anymore. The Jets are not, they're much more stingy when it comes to that. And it's, again, this is every team's going to give up opportunities, but the important part is, can you minimize those opportunities, or you can mitigate the damage that comes from those opportunities? And the Jets certainly tonight were successful in doing that, Ezzy.
Yeah, and I would love to disagree with you, and obviously we don't want to get too excited after 25 games because we know what happened kind of around that 30 to 35 game mark last year. It was really in early January when things started to go wrong for the Jets, but look who they played tonight. Like, yes, you don't have Gabe Landeskog. You didn't have. When people bring up Gabe Landeskog, it kind of makes me laugh because we know he's out for the year. It's not like anybody thinks Landeskog is coming back this year. It's been clear since the off season.
Right.
But no Valerie Nichushkin, Sam Girard. So look at, they had some good players out, but the really good players, McKinnon, Rantanen, Makar. I mean, the majority of the good players. So what I'm saying is the Jets beat a good team tonight and held a good team to a relatively small number of high danger chances. We talked about it, right? Like Carolina, there's no doubt the Jets were lucky to get that win.
Right.
Like there's no way
Laurent Brossoit had to be otherworldly to get that win.
Brossoit made that save on Seth Jarvis with just over a minute left. As Drew says goodbye to one of his millions of fans.
The millions and millions of the Mindell fans.
But there's just no doubt, Dave, that this Jets team is much better structurally, defensively on a consistent basis. You're not seeing one good period, one good game. And look at, they're not all the best defensive efforts. No. I mean, we've seen like Carolina, again, that I just mentioned, wasn't, they gave up, what did they give up? 42 shots or something like that, 45 shots. But
42.
On the road in Colorado, and you kind of weren't sure
there's a lot to like about tonight's win.
Exactly.
There's a lot to like.
That's it. Plan the parade.
Yeah. Dave's getting ahead of himself, but there's a lot to like, and there's a lot that the team will take as as again another building block. Now Rome isn't built in a day, so it's piece by piece.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. I know you're not a history major, but it wasn't built in a day. Write that down for future reference.
Biff wants to be a buff.
Well,
how often do you guys think about the Roman Empire?
That's a meme, right? Is that what that is? Yeah. That's a meme. I never understood it, and I still don't understand it. Yeah. But I think I'm too old to understand it. I'm not supposed to understand it.
We're the old guys that watch what happens on TikTok like a month later on Instagram.
That's right.
That's where we're at in our social media. How's your Blue Sky account, by the way?
My Blue Sky account's great. I still don't know what it is. I still don't know how to use it, but I have it. It's one of those things. If you have it, you won't regret not having it. So
I regret having it, actually.
Really?
I find it annoying.
Why do you actually log into it?
Dave is busy threading.
I am threading. The IC threads are hot, actually. We're up over 2K right now. So
well, there you go.
Dave's hot on threads.
We're hot on threads.
As we've talked about.
I'm pretty sure we're the only people who are actually posting on threads, but we're hot on threads.
Well, you can talk about you can follow us on Twitter, you can follow us on Threads, you can follow us on Blue Sky, and of course you can smash the like button on the YouTube channel.
Remember the movie Vanilla Sky? That was a good movie.
Tom Cruise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I ever saw it, but I remember it.
Remember you would have lucid dreams. I didn't really understand what was going on. It was, I think, like an existential movie, but
yeah, a little too deep for me, right?
Yeah.
So got to use a little too much brain power to keep track of things that are going on there. If I have to take notes during a movie, I'm not that interested in watching that movie.
Fair enough.
That's I think that's what I've discovered in my old age at this point in time. Good evening to so many of you who are joining us live on our YouTube channel and all those live here at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue.
Special shout out to the GF Liverpool.
There you go.
Sitting right here.
Yeah,
Joe from Winnipeg.
The OG Joe from Winnipeg.
Joe from Winnipeg.
Spency, we got Remus and Huss.
Yeah, so
Jet
many.
Oil Tom.
It's been fantastic seeing everybody, meeting everybody in person, of course. Always love being down here live on location at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. Really having a great time tonight. It was a great party, great to celebrate the holiday season really feel as though you're getting into the spirit of things with so many friends and family and everybody else joining us here. Let's get into it. Why don't we get into the actual game itself?
May as well talk about this hockey game.
Yeah, we're almost 25 minutes into the post-game
a lot of preamble.
show. It's a long preamble, but sometimes
sometimes
you need a good long preamble.
Although, Drew, I'm going to sneak a Manitoba Moose minute in because you didn't let me do one last show.
I apologize. Don't worry. There's plenty of time for you to do your Manitoba Moose minutes. But we'll start with the Betway game recap here on the Illegal Curve post-game show.
The Betway game recap.
It certainly seemed like the first period was going to go. There we go. We're saying our goodbyes, so you'll forgive us if we're waving in the middle of the show. There's lots going on here. It certainly seemed like the first period was going to end with nobody scoring, and then the Jets, with 2 seconds to go, 2.2 seconds to go, Adam Lowry deposits the puck past Alexander Georgiev. It's his 5th of the year, assist to Axel Jonsson-Fjällby, and it's a chip and chase, and it's a great play by Jonsson-Fjällby to keep the puck in and then set up Adam Lowry for a quick opportunity. He knocks the puck down as the Avs pretty much think that the period's come to an end, and he knocks it down and he feeds Adam Lowry in the slot, and Lowry makes no mistake sniping it quickly on and off his stick. I like how quickly he received the pass and then put the shot behind Georgiev to make it 1-0 for the Jets very late in that first period, Ezzy.
Yeah, and before I just kind of add to that, like Georgiev to me seemed to be giving up a lot of rebounds today. Like I know Georgiev's had a good year so far, and there's some Avalanche fans that aren't sure, if he can necessarily take them to another Stanley Cup final. But this is my time to just gush about Axel Jonsson-Fjällby, right? Like you mentioned, he dumps the puck in himself in the corner. Devon Taves goes and gets it. And, he just has a good stick and he turns the puck over. And as you mentioned, nice feed to the streaking Lowry, who's coming in from the blue line. And you're right, Adam Lowry and he's done this before, doesn't waste any time. And it's a beauty goal. And you're right. I mean, that's demoralizing. I don't think you would say either team was necessarily better than the other. Maybe you give a slight advantage to the Avalanche. I know the possession numbers were fairly even. The Avalanche we talked about earlier, forget who took the penalty for the Jets, but their power play was not impressive.
Ehlers took the first period penalty.
The Avalanche only had one shot. I just didn't really think that they necessarily set it up and had a lot of sustained pressure. But look, great effort by Axel Jonsson-Fjällby, Dave, and just a nice shot from the captain. So that goal was huge to give the Jets the momentum, right? And 2 seconds left. I mean, that doesn't happen very often, but just love the hustle by Axel Jonsson-Fjällby, as you guys know, one of my favorite Jets.
Playing to the shadow of the whistle. I mean, usually, with that opportunity, very easy to just chip it in and sort of figure, okay, the period's going to go and it's going to be the end of it. Instead, what does he do? He goes and he forces a turnover, with a great play, a guy who usually doesn't get a lot of credit for his offensive prowess or for his stick skills. But this one, he knocks it down out of midair, and he makes an immediate quick pass to Lowry, Dave. It's a really impressive, and it shows sort of the Jets look like they're dialed in, and they're dialed in all the way through the first 20 minutes, right up until the final buzzer, because, like I said, this very easily could have been a chip, and then sort of no chase really, because there's not going to be an opportunity for Colorado to transition.
That goal's all, obviously Lowry has to finish it, Drew, to your point, but that to me, that's all Jonsson-Fjällby just giving 100% and creating that turnover, right? Like that, he deserves a lot of credit. Like, we mentioned the Avalanche have some injuries, Nichushkin, Girard, it was not your traditional injury, obviously. But, in previous years, you would be putting in, a Saku Manalainen or a Carson Kuhlman, all due respect. But now an Axel Jonsson-Fjällby, who started the year with the Moose, he's contributing and getting an assist on the primary goal. So, no Nemesnikov, no Rasmus Kupari. The Jets were fine. And the fourth line was the best forward line for the Jets in the first period and arguably throughout the game. Morgan Barron was good too tonight.
Yeah, Morgan Barron played well. He contributed. And you're right, Ezzy. I mean, it is a play to show that you weren't just prepared to just sit back and relax and, okay, let's just get the intermission. Right. We're happy to be tied 0-0. Instead, you're still going for it. And you want to see Axel Jonsson-Fjällby. I mean, when you're a guy who's on the fourth line, played with the Moose, as Ez just touched on, and you don't know how much longer you're going to be in the lineup, you got to play to every shift. And so it's his first, I believe his first point of the season. He was the first assist for Axel. And again, you use your asset. Your asset is your speed. And that's what he did. And he was tenacious. And so he goes into the zone, he gets that puck, and obviously Adam Lowry finishes it off. And, it's a big goal for him. And that he's wanting to contribute as the captain. And again, like I said, at the end of the day,
hang on, there's a vagrant walking behind us here.
Hey, let the man enjoy his fishbowl. Leave him alone.
That's of course for those of you who've never met him, the man, the myth,
what
legend.
what are you talking about? People have never met him.
Well, the people in the chat may not.
Everybody knows who Spency is.
That is Spency Sutton, ladies and
well,
gentlemen.
he just went downstairs. He just went downstairs, so we're good. But
the thing is, Spency's not in the shot anymore. But how sweet is that Zamnov jersey?
It's pretty sweet. But no, I was going to say, first of all, of course, everybody knows Spency because they joined Ezzy and I last year on the New Year's show when when Spency became the first ever chat member to join the show. He did we did it from the hot tub too, which was
of course.
And this year we're actually going to do the New Year's Eve show. We're going to be in the hot tub this time. We're not going to just be joined by Spencer.
I mean, there's no New Year's Eve show.
It's weird because there's no New Year's Eve game. It's an afternoon game, so I'm not sure why you're going to be on air.
There's not going to be any hockey talk. It's just going to be just drinking and smoking and
just Ezzy in a hot tub is basically what it's going to be.
You guys have already done the analysis of the goal, so I'm not going to go over it again. But it's just more about creating the proper environment and the proper.
They're putting the fire behind your head now.
I like it.
That's Jet Oil Tom is putting the fire behind Dave's head.
I feel
that a boy Jet Oil.
I feel
Tom.
the warmth. I'm feeling the warmth from my home setup. So
they're getting rowdy here at Boston Pizza on Taylor.
That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Although now the fire's turned a little bit. It's a little bit muted, but. Regardless,
are Huss and Remus signing autographs over there? By the way,
they're doing something. No, but look, I mean, it was just about trying to have a positive thing to roll into. And again, 0-0 against Colorado, you're happy, but you're a lot happier at 1-0, says Captain Obvious. So to me, that's a real big moment for the Jets because you go into that first intermission feeling good about your game and having the reward of hard work. And so the hard work paid off. The defensive effort from the team paid off, obviously on the PK, and now you've got that 1-0 lead into the first intermission.
Is Spency paying us for his fish bowls? Is that what's happening now? Spency, you have to pay Boston Pizza for the fish bowls. We appreciate you giving us the money, but you have to give that to Boston Pizza, not to us. Just want to make sure you know that.
Spency can't be inconvenienced. He wants to pay through StreamYard. That's what he wants to do here.
Yeah. I'm not sure that's how it necessarily works, but we certainly do appreciate the very generous contribution to the Illegal Curve drinking fund as we continue on with the post-game show.
Whoever was the original person that thought of the fishbowl idea, like the powers that be at Boston Pizza, like someone was like, let's serve drinks out of a fishbowl. Is a genius, and I hope they've won a lot of awards.
Good to know, Ezzy. You can look into that. You can research who that person is. The Jets only need to play in the last minute of the period and the first minute of the period because they make it 2-0 32 seconds into the second period. So it's really 2 goals in 34 seconds of playing
Dare
time.
I say Dennis Bayak bang bang?
I don't know. Can it be a bang bang if there's an intermission in between?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Yes.
No.
Greg is saying no.
Greg's saying no. I agree with Greg.
Yeah.
I'm
and this gentleman, I don't know his name, is saying yes though, right? Yeah.
Okay, it's a differing of opinion here. Maybe we'll call Dennis and ask if it can be a bang bang.
Let's get Dennis on the show.
Let's get Dennis on the line.
I'll text him right now.
I love that AEW shirt, by the way.
So the Kyle Connor makes it 2-0 for the Winnipeg Jets at the 32-second mark of the second period. I'm looking it up on my phone because I'm also keeping track of all the goals.
This was a bit of a weak goal on Gorgiev. It's a spin around goal. Yeah. It's a spin around shot, I should say. Caught off guard. And we've had Kevin Woodley, Marty Biron, other goaltending experts talk about what are the hardest shots to stop. And obviously, you hear redirections are the obvious one, but the spin around shots are obviously really hard for goalies because of the fact that you don't really look. Kyle Connor has a great shot wherever he's shooting the puck, and it's a beautiful pass by Nick Ehlers. But it's also impressive, Dave, that Connor takes the pass from Ehlers on his backhand, spins around, and obviously catches Gorgiev a little bit off guard there. But that's definitely, I think, a shot that and look, it's blocker side. I think it goes off the post or it goes close to the post. But look, I mean, that, like Drew said, you score late in the first period and then you score early in the second period. you're zapping all the momentum away from the Avalanche. So obviously Kyle Connor also scored the empty netter, and he continues to have the hot hand. But I mean, I just think that Georgiev and the Avalanche, that's one of the goals where, you know, you can't give up that goal at that point in the game.
You know, play it again on your screen here, Ezzy, because as he's playing the goals for us as we continue on with the post-game show here. I wonder if the Avs defenseman, there's an Avs defenseman on this play who flashes right in front of Georgiev just as the shot is released. And I wonder if that defenseman maybe gets in his line of vision a little bit. We'll certainly talk about it in the Morrissey goal, because you see his reaction to the defenseman screening him and that one, and we'll get to that. But I wonder if, and I can't see who the defenseman is right now from this vantage point, but you wonder if maybe that impacted him a little. I agree. It's not a
Cale
great
McCarr
goal.
was the player that stepped up on Connor.
Right.
But I think you're talking about
the defender in behind him, right? Not McCarr in this case. I'm talking about the secondary defenseman who sort of just leave it playing and you'll see a different angle. I wonder if he flashes just in front of him right there.
Taves.
Is that Taves?
Yeah,
Okay.
Devon Taves. Yeah.
I can't see the number.
No, you're right. And the thing is, like, you know, Dave, get in here, but like, you know, those are the kind of subtle things that, you know, we're watching the game here, we're schmoozing it up. You don't see that, but then you watch the replay and you're like, that, you know, that just a little bit of movement from a Devon Taves in front of Georgiev might have been enough for him that he didn't see it. And we know, and like Drew said, we'll talk about it when we get to the Morrissey goal, but goaltenders, as we know,
if they can see the puck, they can usually save the puck.
Yeah, so I mean, even if he's screened a little bit, or you know, so
I just think it's, you know what, to be honest with you, I think it's just a quick release by Kyle Connor. I think he wasn't expecting him to shoot. I mean, just watching the replay, I don't think that Taves really interfered with his line of vision there. But I think the greater point to be made, and I understand that the top line wasn't phenomenal tonight, but that line is showing a lot of chemistry. Mm-hmm. And Nikolai Ehlers, who again is we always talk about how Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor, they're like, you know, they know how to play with each other. They're very comfortable with each other. But Nikolai Ehlers was always that kind of question mark. And Kyle Connor was asked about it yesterday. We spoke to him after practice before the team left for Colorado. And he talked about how that line was together last year for a little bit. And now they have comfort playing with Nikolai Ehlers. But again, not a lot this year. And so now you're getting that sort of, those minutes are increasing. That familiarity is increasing, and we're seeing them being able to do some stuff. And Nikolai Ehlers, again,
they're not breaking up this line anytime soon.
No, I don't think they need to. But to me, Ehlers has become that facilitator, which again, Mark Scheifele is a good facilitator. You know, he's up to 17 assists, so we know he can make a good pass. But again, 18. I guess that was his 18th on this goal, wasn't it?
No, he didn't actually get an assist on this goal. It was Connor from Ehlers and Morrissey.
Oh, it's weird because it looked like Scheifele touched the puck behind the net. But right there.
Yeah.
But it might be it jumped over his stick.
Yeah.
I thought he touched it, but regardless.
I think Dave Manouk just got Mark Scheifele another assist is what just happened. Let's alert NHL.com.
Dave's lobbying hard.
No, I don't really care one way or the other, but except for my on pace for little tweet.
Your pedantic tweets can still be pedantic.
Let me tell you, first of all, it's a stolen Ginsburg tweet. It's not a Manouk tweet. It's stolen by Ginsburg, but I still enjoy it, so I'm going to keep doing it. Regardless of that, to me, it's just like I said, it shows that Ehlers is really increasing his play. And we talked about it. When you missed training camp the way he did, he was going to be behind the 8 ball a little bit. He really seems to have caught up, and he's playing much better.
Well, and also, just wanted to say one thing. You know, I agree. The top line for the Jets wasn't fantastic, but they got a goal. And good lines do that, right? Like they can just be average,
right? But
then when they really get some grade A chances, they bury it. And you know, to me, this is just again showing how good of a goal scorer Kyle Connor is. You know, I hate to harp on that again, but like taking that pass on the backhand, Dave, and then spinning around, like at with speed, right, is just like not something most players can do.
Being
like
an NHL goaltender.
Ehlers can do it, yeah, obviously, but so we don't want to take anything away from Connor on that goal. And that line, I think, we expect more offense from them.
Well,
but
I think what that line also has done, because they've been playing so well together, is it also allows Gabe Vilardi to sort of continue to ease his way back into the lineup. Because remember, when Vilardi left the lineup, him and Connor and Scheifele were playing so well together, and it was a matter of like, okay, when is that trio getting put back together? Well, now that Ehlers and Connor and Scheifele are playing so well together, it's not imperative that Vilardi be back up to that same level of speed.
Yep.
Immediately off the start from
his line,
injury.
I think you guys would agree that line. I mean, they were pretty invisible.
Yeah, they
tonight,
were pretty.
Cole Perfetti was hanging on to the puck and trying to make some things happen, but Iafallo and Velarde. I mean, look, these are good players. They've added a lot of depth to the Jets.
Possession-wise, they were the Jets' worst line.
Right. And again, you're going to see that. And I agree. I think, Gabe Velarde, he's still, when you have that type of injury, he mentioned it, right, Dave? Like he mentioned that could have been worse.
Yeah.
Could have been season ending.
Right. So, I mean, I'm not too worried about Velarde specifically, but I still don't know if that's the right combination. Like I'm still on the, maybe you try Nino Niederreiter on the left wing of that line. But again, Lowry, Appleton, and Niederreiter were, again, good tonight. So you don't necessarily want to break up that trio.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, when Scheifele, Connor, and Ehlers are possession positive and still creating, even though we talked about, like, tonight, aside from that goal, they weren't exactly, what you would normally expect out of that line, I guess. But a win is a win. At the end of the day, the Jets did enough to win this game, and they won it pretty comfortably, actually.
And they were on the ice for 2 goals for and 0 goals against.
Right.
So often last year, they'd be on the ice for 2 goals for and 3 goals against, or something like that. So if that line can win the battles and get the goals whilst not giving it up defensively, then that's certainly a good problem for the Winnipeg Jets to have. So 2-0 at that point in time. Early in the second period, and then Colorado pushes back as you would expect them to do. And it's a fantastic goal by Nathan MacKinnon, who, you take him for granted until you see a goal like this, because it's just...
Well, that was cheat mode.
Yeah.
Like there's a few other players, but to me, there's really only 2 guys that do it like this.
Right.
And it's obviously McDavid and McKinnon.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people are going to point out that, Logan Stanley was a little bit, flat-footed there.
Well, you just can't. The problem is no NHL defenseman can be flat-footed against Nathan MacKinnon with a head of speed.
Exactly.
He's going to do that. I mean, he's going to do that to anybody he plays against for the most part. And he certainly made Logan Stanley look a little bit silly on this one.
He also burned Connor Hellebuyck pretty good, right? So, I mean, you've got him. You're absolutely right. He definitely cooks Logan Stanley here, because Logan Stanley's going right, and McKinnon's going the opposite way, and he has no chance to recover at that point. But again, he beat out Connor Hellebuyck pretty well as well, putting that puck upstairs. So I think that's what all game we saw. That's where Grandma put the lemonade. So I think that's where Nathan MacKinnon decided to put that puck, and then suddenly it's a 2-1 game.
Right, 2-1. That was at the 2-minute 30-second mark of the second period. So just under 2 minutes after the Jets made it 2-0, the Avs cut it in half. It's MacKinnon assessed to Devin Taves, and Malinsky getting the secondary assist on that one. The Jets respond in kind again. So, and it turns out to be the game-winning goal, which will also double as our Seagram's shot of the game.
The Seagram shot of the game.
Big thanks to our friends at Seagram's for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. The Seagram shot of the game tonight goes to Josh Morrissey, his 5th of the year, assist to Dylan Sandberg and Nino Niederreiter. And Morrissey just walks down from the point, and he's at just inside the top of the circle, and absolutely wires a puck past Alexander Gorgiev, who is screened on the play by his own defenseman and is none too happy about it. In fact, he gives his own defenseman a little bit of a slash to the shins, which I think is his way of saying, get the hell out of the way. In this instance, I think it must have been Sam Malinsky is who the defenseman is.
It was Sam Malinsky.
Sam Malinsky, not what I would describe as a household name on the back end for the Colorado Avalanche. And he's providing a screen on his own goaltender. And Morrissey comes down, walks in, and absolutely fires it off the far post and in to give the Jets the 3-1 lead, regain the lead to the 2-goal lead. And it's just a beautiful shot by Morrissey. And you know that Josh Morrissey, Cale Makar gets talked about all the time. In fact, I don't know if you guys read Larry Brooks in the New York Post this Sunday. He always has a Sunday sort of news and notes column, and he took a little bit of a veiled shot, not even veiled, it was a shot at Cale Makar and saying it seems like the league has got a PR campaign talking up Cale Makar. I think he was saying, at the expense of Adam Fox is what I think where Larry Brooks was going with that one.
Right.
But
advocating is what you're saying.
Hold on, are you talking about Adam Fox's bagels?
I don't know. That's a separate issue entirely. But Morrissey,
I don't think Cale, all due respect, I like Larry Brooks. I know you like him too.
Yeah.
I don't think Cale Makar needs a PR machine. I mean, Makar could win the Hart Trophy.
Of course, he's incredible.
Right? He deserves, I'm sorry, I will gush about Cale Makar you guys know one of my favorite defensemen of all time is Scott Niedermayer. To
Right.
me, he's just like a bigger Scott Niedermayer. Like, he has that same ability. He can take over a game. Like, he's an amazing skater, great defensively, great shot.
But
What is this, Makar lunch?
Well, what I was going to say is that, Josh
Dude,
Morrissey,
where's my car?
The people, the crowd liked that one there, Izzy. That was pretty
I got
clever.
it. I got
Well, I
some
didn't get a
laughs
reaction
Timmy
out
and
of
Colby.
Spency. I was looking at
appreciate
Spency, and I didn't see
Spency's
any.
focused on the fishbowl first and foremost. But Josh
Spency's too popular.
Morrissey,
He's got other things to do.
has been, definitely knows that he wants to be in that conversation, and he has been playing such good hockey for the last
He's
year
quietly
plus now.
having a great offensive year, whereas last year, his career offensive year, what did he end up with? 70 points. He missed some time at the end of the season, but
He's got 22 points.
yeah,
I mean,
but quietly, right?
Right. He's just
almost
under
a point a game.
Yeah, he's just under a point a game so far this year. So if everyone is expecting the regression for Morrissey from his offensive high last year.
Whoa.
Sorry,
Uno momento, por
not
favor.
everybody, but
Not everybody.
Lots of people
The
were.
people who on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, when we were doing a little over-under,
right?
some of us were saying over.
Right? No question about it. But Morrissey came in, and in this goal, he takes the pass from Sandberg, comes down the line, and just absolutely wires it.
And he's become a master at using the screen.
Oh,
But
fantastic!
that's what
Getting his
more-
shots through,
Right.
Yeah.
And Drew mentioned Sam Alinsky, who obviously Georgiev gave the tap and wasn't really happy with the screen. But also on this goal, give Nino Niederreiter a credit. I forget if it was Jack Johnson. I think it's Jack Johnson who's on the third pair with Malinsky, right?
Mm-hmm.
Morrissey passes the puck to Niederreiter, and Niederreiter beats out Jack Johnson.
Right.
So does some good work along the boards to get the puck back to Sandberg.
Yeah.
And then we've talked about it. Like Morrissey, he doesn't have like the Al McInnes, Iafredi slapper, but he just knows where to put it, Dave.
Yeah.
And
he's just
so
a
that
very
goal was
smart player.
obviously huge. Again, later in the second period, it was 1-goal game at that point.
Right.
And that we always talk about the insurance. That gave the Jets the insurance, and they had some breathing room with a 2-goal lead.
Well, it was important for their own psyche, right? You give up the goal, and now suddenly you're like, okay, now it's 2-1. You're like, here come the Avs.
Well, how many times have we seen the Jets, collapse in the face of Colorado pressure?
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially in Denver.
That's right. And so instead of that, you have the Jets who push back.
Yeah.
And look, Josh Morrissey is just continuing to show that he is, an elite defenseman, and he's showing that last year wasn't a fluke. And he talked about the confidence that he got from Rick Bowness and how the coaching staff wants their defense to contribute. And that's one of the things we know that Rick Bowness has talked about it. He needs more from the defense. He wants more offense from the defense. So to me, that has been like critical. And Josh Morrissey obviously is the biggest, despite his joke about Brendan Dillon being the sniper. I mean, Josh Morrissey is the guy who you're expecting to be the one who's the main contributor in that realm. So look, I mean, he's just his heads up player, and he just makes those types of plays. And credit Nino Niederreiter. And we got to talk about the signing of the deal and everything. We did a little bit, but the point is that he's such
that contract makes almost too much sense. It's like 3 years, $4 million a year.
Yeah.
For a third line guy who can play in the second line, who loves playing in Winnipeg. He's become a fan favorite.
Well,
I didn't hear one person
criticize the deal.
Yeah, not one person. Everyone just said, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I think a lot of other general managers criticized that it happened so early before they could get their
There's no
try and
question.
get their teeth into them.
I really would advocate that people listen to the Niederreiter interview from Jets on at noon with Jim and Cam, which is on a little site called thelegalcurve.com. Really good interview. Provides a lot of insight into the kind of player this guy is, kind of the person he is. Talked about how he was talking about the True North Foundation. They asked him why he got involved, and he talked about his parents instilling those values in him, but he also talked about giving back to the community that's supporting him financially. And he talked about how it's important to do that and again, like I said, he just came across as a class individual, and more importantly, signs the deal on Monday.
Yeah.
Tuesday was an optional. Most of the veterans weren't there. Nino Niederreiter was on the ice. Nino Niederreiter was skating with a lot of the guys who were either healthy scratches or, the younger players. Nino Niederreiter, 31, could have taken that skate off. He was working his butt off on Tuesday. So I'm just saying, he's the exact kind of player on the ice and off the ice that this team needs. And again, we're not really, this is not Niederreiter's lunch, but the fact of the matter is that he's the kind of player that just makes his team so much better for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah, that's right. And we'll talk much more about that on Saturday's edition of the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, 9
What time is that, sir?
9 a.m. on Saturday, back here on our YouTube channel. It's a party here at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. The Illegal Curve post-game show rolls on. So many of you joining us here live in person. So many. There's Spency coming into the shot, getting a little cozy, getting a little bit of a cuddle up there with Ezzy. You know,
I feel like we could have our own show called Spency and Me.
I think it would be. I'd watch that show. I mean, I don't know that it'd be a very hairy show, but other than that,
A lot of hair, a lot of facial hair.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in that show right there. I would suggest the Avalanche cut into the Jets' lead again. This coming with 31 seconds to go in the second period.
Security.
Joel Kivaranta getting his second of the year, assist to Nathan McKinnon and Bowen Byram. This late in the second period, the Jets get caught running around a little bit, and it was sort of a weird one because it went in, and then players stopped, but the play didn't stop, and it was only after the review did they realize that the puck was in and out so quickly. It's just not a great play by the Winnipeg Jets.
Jets defense was lacking.
It was lacking is a very nice way of putting it.
They were standing around. They were standing around.
The Colorado was, and I think the Jets actually were fortunate that this happened. You sort of felt as though Colorado was building the momentum, late in that second period. They had a number of opportunities. I think the Jets, you give up the goal, but then the period ends, and then you can go back into the dressing room and you can sort of recalibrate yourself, still with having the 1-goal lead after 40 minutes.
Right, and we talked about Nathan McKinnon, obviously, Dave, on the first goal.
Yeah.
But I mean, Brendan Dillon goes for a hit on the boards, misses him. So Nathan McKinnon goes around. Then Neil Pionk, I mean, he has to make a play on McKinnon. He has to respect him.
Yeah.
But then what happens is, I don't know if is it Joel or Yoel Kiviranta?
Yeah.
He was really good. Was that in the bubble?
Yeah,
For the Stars, he kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't honestly forgot he was on the Avalanche.
He had a 4-goal game in the bubble, didn't he? In the playoffs.
He absolutely did. So he's kind of like got that. If you remember back in the day, he's got that John Druce kind of factor. Remember, he got all those goals in the playoffs
for Washington.
For Washington,
yeah.
But so McKinnon makes a beautiful play on Dillon, like we said, who went for the hit. And then Kiviranta, because Pionk goes over to commit. I forget who else was. I think it might have been Morgan Barron was battling somebody else, Dave, in front of the net. I know the fourth line was out there, and then Kiviranta is just open. And like Drew said, they originally didn't call it a goal, and then when there was a stoppage in play on the replay, clearly it was a goal. So the Jets, that was some sloppy defensive coverage late in the second period, and they obviously hung on for the win. But that gave the Avalanche some life. There's a huge difference going into the second period, second intermission, down 2 as opposed to 1. And obviously, we talked about the Avalanche had no shortage of chances early in the second period. But that was not tight defensive coverage for the Jets on that one, Dave.
No, not at all. And again, the only thing you liked if you're the Winnipeg Jets is that they actually tried to push a little bit towards the close of that period. I think they got a couple of chances.
They didn't sag.
And it's funny because Brendan Dillon was asked about bending, not breaking against the Avs. And he said, well, hopefully we're not bending or breaking. But, at some point, especially like we'll talk about the 5-on-3, they bent a little bit. But that's – I was going to say, but the point is that, you bent – but you didn't break. And you don't want to bend, you're going to sometimes do that against the top team in the Central Division. Again, a team that went prior to tonight 9-2-0 at home. So you knew that the Avs were going to come at you. And again, like as he said, they're not a team that's particularly happy with their play of late. So you're expecting that. And when you give them those opportunities early in that third period, it could have been a much different result. But as he talked about to start this game, the penalty kill was so excellent and so important for the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, we haven't heard the post game, but you have to think that Rick Bowness was very pleased with what that was able to give his team.
Well, so let's talk about that. So the third period starts. So the Jets have the 1-goal lead entering the third period. And what happens to start the third period? 1 minute and 17 seconds. Josh Morrissey takes a tripping penalty.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. You can, it happens. And then it's compounded off the face-off. Dylan Sandberg high sticks Miles Wood, and Miles Wood went down like he was absolutely shot on that play. But nonetheless, it was a penalty, no question about that. And the Jets are going to be shorthanded 5-on-3 for 46 seconds. So it's early in the third period. You've got a 1-goal lead. You're 5-on-3 against a very dangerous, very talented Colorado Avalanche team. And I thought that was the for a team that has really struggled on the PK for a lot of the season, I thought the Jets' efforts on the penalty kill in this 5-on-3 situation were tremendous. And, they kept a very clean structure. They were able to really, I don't even know if the Avs had, if they had a shot on this 5-on-3, it wasn't a high danger opportunity. The Jets were really impressive in this crucial opportunity in the third period in keeping it as that 1-goal lead and not running into any trouble and not having anything chaotic occur as Greg Liverpool joins the crowd behind us.
This is the man.
Ezzy and Dave right now.
Greg, we have known Greg now for probably 12 years, 13 years since the Jets have been back.
Yeah.
He was the original Hustler and Lawless caller, right, Greg, on CJOB.
There's Hustle
so Greg,
there. He's
glad Greg.
number one. Hustle's saying number one. He's in the corner
GF
there.
Liverpool is absolutely number one. And yeah, you're right. I mean, that penalty kill was huge, and it just felt to me like that 5-on-3 for the Avalanche.
Yeah,
they just seemed to be rushed, and they never really got set up. And credit to the Jets penalty killers. Like, the penalty kill has been pretty good all season long. Maybe not so much, as much as last year. But you're absolutely right. I mean, that could have been, not only could the Avalanche have tied the game, they could have taken the lead at that point in the game.
Sure.
So, I mean, after that, the Jets did a pretty good job of, shutting things down and not letting the Avalanche get too many chances. But again, you can't say it enough.
Well, I was going to say, so after
how good the penalty kill was.
After the Avs had the 5-on-3 and they don't succeed on that 5-on-3, I'm trying to remember in the course of that third period where they're pushing to tie the game.
Yeah.
The Jets did a really good job at not giving up much. They were pretty stingy in that third period.
And again, I don't want to jump to the end, but when the Avs were the team that were chasing, it was actually the Jets who had the puck and had possession and were pushing.
At about the 2.5-minute mark, you're absolutely right. About the 2.5-minute mark. So when there's about 2.5 minutes to go in the third period, I know, and this is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The Jets held possession in Colorado's zone for a solid 45 to 60 seconds.
Yeah, kill time. Well, and it was interesting because Colorado was sitting there, and as he says to me at one point, he goes, Colorado knows that they're the ones who are down a goal right now because they certainly aren't playing with that sort of urgency.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of desperation there.
Not at that point. And look, I mean, credit to the Jets. We talk about bending and not breaking, and that's what I thought that they did. And look, they were outshot 7-1 to start that third period. And ultimately, Connor Hellebuyck was good.
Yeah.
And the team was good defensively in front of him. And as a result, you end up walking out of Colorado and starting off the road trip with, a 4-2 win where you don't have to break down the Kyle Connor goal, other than the fact that it's his 17th, right? So that's his 17th goal of the season.
Yeah.
And that, I think it's probably significant in the sense that the Jets have been missing empty nets. So maybe the fact that they actually buried an empty net chance when they had it, and it is significant. There was still 45 seconds left to go in the third period when he scored that goal. So, you do salt away the game. But, again, you want to put the dagger in when you have that chance. And you like the chip by Kyle Connor. And ultimately, like I said, his 17th goal, he's one off Brock Besser for top spot in the NHL, after going a little quiet. I think it was 5 games without a goal. Now he's got some goal scoring going on right now. And ultimately, if Kyle Connor's hot and that top line is hot and Connor Hellebuyck and both goaltenders are playing well, the Jets are feeling good defensively about this team and offensively, and that's a good thing. And especially it's a good thing because, remember, Gabe Vilardi is still not playing at a high level yet. And you're not expecting him to be. He said he goes, look, I have a high expectation for myself, but even I'm aware of what my limitations are based on how much time I've missed. Same as, a lot of these guys, like Ehlers, we're just talking about Ehlers kind of rounding out into form, and he's been playing, right? So, a lot of, when you miss that kind of time, it's always going to be a bit of a difficulty, and now we're seeing it. But the nice thing for the Jets is that you're not, and I know you mentioned this earlier, Drew, but you're not rushing Gabe Vilardi back into those high pressure, 24 minutes a game. You're allowing him to play on that second line or third line or whatever the hell we're calling these lines.
Right.
But ultimately that top line is getting it done. And now you've got 3 goals for in this game and you end up winning the hockey game.
A 4-2 victory for the Winnipeg Jets. They win 3 in a row as they start this road trip that's going to take them to California for the next few games, of course, starting Sunday as they face the Anaheim Ducks. So great victory for the Winnipeg Jets to start it off against the Central Division rival Colorado Avalanche. Jets next in action, as I mentioned, on Sunday. We have the Illegal Curve Hockey Show coming up for you on Saturday morning, but don't go anywhere. We still have much more to come here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. We got a Tough Duck hardest hitting comment to give away. Dave's going to do a Manitoba Moose Minute. We got much more to come. We're live at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. We're live on our YouTube channel. I need to plug my computer in before my battery dies because that would be pulling a Ginsburg, and Lord knows I wouldn't be able to live that one down.
You can just share my computer.
No, I mean, I could share your computer, but I'm going to plug mine in any event. Much more to come. It's what night is it? It's a Thursday night. Thursday night. It's the Illegal Curve holiday party, the Illegal Curve post-game show. Lots going on. We're having a great time. Don't go anywhere. Much more to come. Drew Mindell, Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg with you. And, of course, producer Tim, the man who makes this happen.
The band is back together,
Yes, anytime
boys.
producer Tim is here, you know that he's the one. He's the brains behind this operation. And if it wasn't for producer Tim, we'd all be, poking berries up our nose in a ditch somewhere like we usually are. Okay. Don't go anywhere. Much more of the Illegal Curve post-game show still to come.
Your coworkers love you because you always make them laugh. You're the life of the party with stories that have them rolling on the floor. Or maybe you're just the quiet one in the corner with the one-liners that just slay. Do you have what it takes to become Winnipeg's funniest person with a day job? Try your luck. Hit the stage at Rumors Comedy Club, and you could be walking away with $1,000 cash. Winnipeg's funniest person with a day job. Presented by Rumors. For all the details, head to rumorscomedyclub.com.
So you're a pizza person, you married a wing person, but somehow your kids are salad people. You can't pick your fam, but you can pick your BP meal deal, starting from $18.99 for takeout or delivery at bostonpizza.com.
The game can change just like that. Accidents happen when you aren't protected. So now what? Getting to your injury quickly can make all the difference. Help prevent them from being game changers with Linden Market Dental Center. Bonding, crowns, bridges, and dental implants. State-of-the-art treatments are available to help you get back in the game. To learn more, visit lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
Boston Pizza harnessed Fanalytics to test if the game is better at home or at Boston Pizza. The results are irrefutable. Catch the game at Boston Pizza, powered by Fanalytics.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the Illegal Curve hockey show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. Thursday evening, we're back on the Illegal Curve post-game show live at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. And, of course, for everybody joining us live on our YouTube channel, we appreciate everybody here live on location. Appreciate everybody watching us wherever you may be joining us from all around the globe.
I have to say, sorry, Drew, it's great to see Huss. Like, it's just great that Huss and Remus were able to join us here at BP Taylor. But I love seeing Huss and Remus like in their element, because like we don't get to see them in their element as much as we did back in the TSN 1290 days. Just like watching them have like conversations and just like, you know, like scheming and everything like that.
Scheming?
I've missed that.
What
are they planning on robbing the place? Like, I don't understand.
Are they planning on stabbing you out? Like, what sort of scheming are you? Hustler, what kind of scheming are you doing that Ezzy's talking about?
I meant positive scheming. I meant like scheming for next, like tomorrow's Winnipeg Sports Talk.
That's called planning, Ezzy.
If you're not
subscribing,
by the way, subscribe to Winnipeg Sports Talk and join them Monday to Friday daily at 1:00 p.m.
As apparently they gather up people to scheme, like they're the bad guy on Scooby-Doo or something, and you meddling kids ruin it for everybody. I see that we have to give a shout out. I see that Perry William Cousin is in the chat, and we have to give Perry a shout out.
Absolutely.
He sent to Ezzy, and we're going to debut them on Saturday's show. He made for us, custom made for us, these Italian alabaster stone Inukshuk necklaces.
They're awesome.
And they are they're fantastic. And we'll have them with us on Saturday's show. I know you meant to bring them,
but
Ian.
I
had one job, Ginsburg.
Yeah, just one job. But I was, we were having a little Hanukkah party at the house. I was excited.
Yeah.
I had 4 jelly jam busters. So unfortunately I didn't bring the necklaces, but I will bring the necklaces. I'll drop them off to your house or something like that, but we'll have them. But yeah,
just let me know when you're coming so I can make sure that I get an exception to the restraining order so you're allowed on my property.
Fair enough.
But anyways, we want to say thank you to Perry for sending those our way. It's just a wonderful gesture. And Perry, I can see that you're in the chat. It's just we do greatly appreciate it.
We love you, Perry.
And we're going to show them off on Saturday because as you sent the photos around, and they're tremendous. It really is so wonderfully considerate of you. So thank you to Perry for thinking of us and making us this beautiful jewelry that we'll be able to demonstrate and show off on Saturday's Illegal Curve Hockey Show days.
I don't think we're going to be demonstrating them. I think
we're going to be displaying them.
Yeah.
How about that?
No, that's a better word.
Okay, displaying is better.
I just hope that Drew's still wearing a shirt. I hope this isn't Drew isn't using this as an opportunity to go tarps off.
I don't want to see Drew's swarthy body wearing just his white skin against the white alabaster Italian.
Like Spency and I might go tarps off in the hot tub in Sage Creek, but we don't want to see Drew doing tarps off on Saturday's show.
Exactly.
Well, I will say thank you to Perry though. It's always appreciated when folks do stuff like that for us. So thank you for sending it to Ezzy. We really appreciate it. And it's been a good show. It's been a really good show.
I want to give Ezzy the option. Ezzy, do you have a Tough Duck Hard City comment, or do you want me to do Dave's the Manuk Moose? What do you want first? Manuk Moose minute?
No. Well, I never want to stand in the way of a Manuk Moose minute.
Okay,
so
that's what we'll do here. It's the Manuk Moose minute on the Illegal Curve postgame show.
Put on your antlers. It's time for the Manuk Moose minute on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show.
My time to shine. It's my time to shine.
It's always your time to shine, baby.
But I will step back every once in a while, but this is the Manuk time. This is when I get to go. Look, I mean, I think the Moose were hit a bit of a skid and they were not performing to their levels. And one of the things that was really hurting the Moose were the goaltending. Oskari Salmon and Colin Delia, who was dealing with the groin issue, weren't really playing up to their levels. And as a result, a young Moose team was getting burnt quite often. And then when those mistakes were happening, they were ending up in the back of the net. Now those guys are both playing much better, and as a result, you're seeing a much more improved Moose team up against Rockford. We talked about the game on Friday, of course, where they won, beating the Ice Hogs for the first time all season. It was an interesting weekend because it was all Chicago, right? You played the Ice Hogs on Friday. Jets played the Blackhawks on Saturday, and then
we are Chicago of the North, right?
Chicago of the North.
I think they should change their team name. My son calls them the Ice Pigs, and I'll be honest, I think Ice Pigs is a way better team name than the Ice Hogs.
Well, I actually wrote Ice
Sam's onto something there.
I actually wrote Ice Hawks at one point, and I was like, oh wait, that's wrong. And I'm like, it kind of makes more sense, but Ice Hogs, is ultimately what they are.
How does Ice Hawks make more sense? What's an Ice Hawk?
Well, they're Blackhawks.
I know. I understood where you're going with it.
Yeah,
but
whatever. I mean, it has to be a real name.
I guess not. What's an Ice Hog for that?
How
many Ice Hogs are you discovering in the bush, Drew?
Well, are you guys aware that there's a wild
Yes,
pig
we saw
issue?
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, there's a wild pig issue all over across North America.
Right, but like in southern Manitoba.
I figured you're going to be going up in Kentucky. I thought you'd be going hunting.
No. I'm avoiding any and all wild pigs is my rule of thumb.
Drew's got his bag full of spears and he's ready.
It's Lord of the Flies is what it is. Exactly. Instead of actually going after a kid named Piggy, I'm actually going after a pig.
Well,
yeah, I have heard about the wild pigs thing.
Yeah,
but it's not something I knew about until recently. I just assumed there were regular farm pigs.
Right. What do I know about wild pigs? I mean, I don't know. Apparently, it's a big issue in southern Manitoba and southern Saskatchewan.
It's a big issue. Literally, it's a big issue all across North America.
Well, I mean, and
what is this
it's
hog lunch?
Yeah, it's wild hog lunch now. We don't know where you were going with your.
I was going to say, can we get back to the Ice Hogs because so far I don't know what the hell we're doing right now. But
go for it.
Look, I mean, it was first of all, it was the RCMP 150th anniversary.
Those jerseys
were sharp.
Yeah,
those jerseys were really. They did a really good job on the jerseys. And those were you can see them. They're featured on the Illegal Curve Instagram and on a variety of our social media, so we've got those posted everywhere. But they did a really nice job. The Moose really do, generally speaking, do a good job with all of their specialty jerseys. They're only wearing 2 or 3 this year. I believe the autism one is coming up next.
Yeah, that autism jersey is always a great.
Yeah,
fun
they're thoughtful, right? And so that's the thing. So anyway, so the game itself was a good game. Jeff Malott played excellent. So and it's interesting actually. Speaking of the Moose, I thought the Jets may make a recall because of course with Vlad Nemesnikov's status of being uncertain, they don't actually have a 13th forward right now.
Right.
So you were wondering what the Jets were going to do, whether they recall Dominic Toninato, although he must be close to requiring waivers again because of the time factor, because of how much time he spent with the Jets already. So you wonder, would they go with someone else? I thought Jeff Malott's been playing excellent. He was excellent on Sunday, scored early in the first period. Then he set up a really nice goal, nice shot by Artemi Nizev, and Parker Ford got his third. He's had a slow start, but he's starting to come around a little bit. One guy who doesn't get a lot of recognition, similar to Parker Ford, the Jets signed him out of college, is Wyatt Bongiovanni, the Michigan man. He's quietly up to 6 goals, but he scored 3 straight games, and he's got a really good shot. He was dealing with a groin issue. He's the one who came into training camp. It was funny because when Rick Bowness was asked if everybody was coming into training camp healthy, he's like, one guy, Wyatt Bongiovanni, like he didn't know who he was. but Bongiovanni is a guy who can score. He can actually score pretty well. He's got a really good shot, and he put it on display. His last 3 goals have all been just beauties. The one 2 games ago wasn't phenomenal, but it still showed off his shot. But the one in Grand Rapids, which was the game winner, was a beauty top corner. And this one was also a real nice one. So the Moose ended up cruising to a 3-1 win, but they've won 2 in a row. And they headed off to Calgary this morning. They've been practicing. One thing of note, Kyle Capobianco. We're getting past the note. Should I read it live on air? I don't know if I should read it live on air.
Guess who likes
Ezra
you?
is the most handsome member of Illegal Curve, and it's not even close.
No, but I was going to say that quickly. The Moose are dealing with some minor injury stuff. Kyle Capobianco is dealing with a minor hip issue, as according to Mark Morrison, and Dominic Toninato was out for maintenance, as was Chaz Lucius. They practiced in Calgary. Of course, we don't know what happened with them today. They're taking on the Wranglers, and much to their chagrin, this is sarcasm, Dustin Wolf, the back-to-back AHL goalie of the year, called up to Calgary to replace Jacob Markstrom, who broke his finger. So they will not face Dustin Wolf, and they will also not face Alex Gallant, who, if you recall, Jeffrey Viel and him had a knock him out, drag him out, all offense fight.
Rock 'em, sock 'em.
Yeah, it was whatever you want to call it. It was a fight I've never seen.
Fists of Fury.
I've never seen anything like that in my life. I mean, it was just
Street Fighter 2.
It was like Bob Probert style, like Bob Probert, Ty Domi, like
Troy
old
Crowder.
school. Yeah, Troy Crowder, like just like a fight I have never seen before. I remember I talked to Jeffrey Viel about it. It's like, yeah, there wasn't a lot of offense in that fight. I'm like, no, there wasn't.
Did you tell Jeffrey Viel about my joke, the try the Viel?
I did not.
I would hope you wouldn't, because
you
shouldn't be repeating that joke either.
If I tried that on him, suddenly I'd be Alex Gallant, except he'd be pummeling me, so it wouldn't be worth it. But anyways,
I'm pretending you're Ezra and I'm pummeling you for that horrible joke.
But anyways, yeah. So the Moose are off in Calgary. They'll play Friday and Sunday, I believe. So they're hoping to keep the good times going. Calgary's a good team still. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it should be a fun one this weekend for the Manitoba Moose. And again, we'll have coverage on Twitter, on illegalcurve.com, and wherever else you get your Moose news, and maybe sometimes our YouTube channel.
There you go, Dave M. with as only he can do, a Manitoba Moose Minute. We'll wrap up tonight's edition of the post-game show like we always do with the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment.
The Tough Duck hardest hitting comment.
Before we get to that, the note we were passed by our good friend GF Liverpool. Apparently there's a pending transit strike that could have an effect on travel to upcoming Jets and Moose games. He'd like us to remind audience of that. So if you're planning on taking, is it still transit, Tom? Is that if you can still say? Okay. If you're planning on taking transit, Tom, there's a work stoppage might have an impact on that. So plan accordingly to get to wherever you need to go. Maybe
people can take the water taxi. Maybe that's still going.
It might still be. It's warm enough. It's not like the river's frozen.
Yeah.
So is the water taxi still working? And Dave's wearing shorts right now. So I mean, it is December.
If you need a
7th.
ride to the Jets game, just call me. I'll give you a ride to the Jets game
today. What do you want from me? I mean, sorry, the kids were playing soccer. I mean, it's a warm day.
Hey,
Dave
anytime
M's
I
in
can
shorts.
see those Dave M legs, then I'm quite happy to see those.
These are
calves.
championship calves.
Those are some good-looking legs. Are those calf implants? Are those legal? I'm not sure those are legal anywhere other than Brazil.
They're not street legal.
Okay. Ezzy Tough Duck Artist in comment.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody in the chat. Very lively, mainly Spency, who's live on location here at BP Taylor and in the chat. So Spency obviously is always doing it up real big. We're going to give it to a winner from I think last year, or maybe the first year we were doing the post-game show, a very loyal Illegal Curve post-game show chatter. We're going to give it to Leslie Michnick. Like this comment here, I've got it up on the screen. Just finished watching the game. What an effort by the Jets. PK was great, and the fourth line was awesome. They didn't give the Avs a lot despite giving up more than 30 shots. Love that comment from Leslie because I think he kind of sums up the game there. I mean, obviously, we gave the Seagram shot of the game to Josh Morrissey. Adam Lowry scores the goal late in the first period. That was huge. But really, I mean, this was a team effort. And, it wasn't very one-sided except for, we talked about it a little bit in the second period there. The Avalanche were all over the Jets. Same thing early in the third period. Yeah. I think the shots were 7-1 at one point. But love that comment from Leslie. He's a two-time Tough Duck Toque winner. So send me an email, Leslie Ezra at illegalcurve.com.
So shouldn't you already have his email?
That's true.
His address?
That's true.
I'm like, he's already won twice.
That's a good point. So Leslie, email me if your address is changed.
That's it.
If not, I will go back into my Gmail account and I will find your info. But yeah, Leslie, you are tonight's Tough Duck winner. And maybe I picked Leslie because that's my mom's middle name and my sister's middle name.
Oh, it's also my uncle's first name.
It's a great name.
Yeah, there you go.
And our really good friend Hart's mom's name.
There you go. So
love Leslie. Great name.
There you go. Congratulations to Leslie, the winner of tonight's Tough Duck hardest hitting comment here on the Illegal Curve post-game show, coming to you live from Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue, coming to you live. It's been a great night. It really has been a ton of fun.
Any quality time that we get to spend with Greg and Spency.
What do you mean?
And everybody else.
Yeah, name everybody else.
Like all the great make some noise, fans, and all the fans who are still there. You go. There you go. It's getting closer to midnight, and the party is still going strong here at Boston Pizza Taylor. We have to say thank you, of course, to the team at Boston Pizza Taylor, the serving staff who've been taking great. How about a round of applause for the serving staff, everybody? There you go. They've been doing a great job taking care of all of us all night long. They saw us hooligans come in and they didn't barricade the doors, which is always a nice touch. That would have been my immediate reaction. But nonetheless, they kept the lights on and they kept the doors open for us to enjoy the Jets Avalanche game, to enjoy the post-game show, to enjoy the camaraderie and the friendship that was on display here earlier tonight. Want to say a big thank you to, of course, to all of our sponsors who make this a possibility. Our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Linden Market Dental Center, Zappia Group Realty, Betway, they're the title sponsor here of the post-game show. Tough Duck, Boston Pizza, that's of course where we're at right now. Stay tuned for information on the next live on location broadcast.
Well, hold on.
What? The next, okay, I meant the next live on location broadcast.
Yeah, but you said like
here
you didn't
Boston
say that.
Pizza, but
you didn't
right.
say that. I'm going to jump in because you
Please
didn't say
ahead.
it.
Well, hang on. Let me mention, of course, Farmery Beer, official sponsor, home of the Illegal Curve Lager. Are we, by any chance, going to be at Farmery Brewing, Dave?
We will. December 16th, the day the Jets play the Colorado Avalanche, from 9 till 11. We'll be doing the Saturday show at our friends' Farmery retail location, 2 Donald Street. So come join us at Farmery, and you can visit us, get some good deals. We'll get some deals on IC beer if you want to buy it. They've got advent calendars. They've got all sorts of things you can buy, but come down, say hello to us at 2 Donald Street, and we'll be doing that show live from, it might be Ezzy and I. We don't know if Drew's going to join us, but we'll for sure at least 2/3 or 3/3 of the show will be there.
I need to stay sober at 9 a.m. if you two are drinking heavily.
All I know, boys, is, it's been my dream for how long to do a show live on location.
Ever since he was a little Mija.
Exactly.
You know the episode of The Simpsons where Homer dreams about the Duff beer truck spilling over and running around in his underwear? That's going to be Ezzy basically at that Farmery Brewing.
I did when I met with the boys at Farmery this week. I did say to them, we were talking about where we would do the show and where we'd set up, and I said, and
Ezzy's in the cooler.
Well, I know. Thank.
We're gonna be like previewing the Jets Avalanche game, and like mid thought, I'm just gonna look and realize that we're in a
You're
that
surrounded by
we're surrounded by beer, and I'm literally just gonna like start pulling beers out of the box.
I did say
and
that there's
drinking them.
cases, like as you having cases of beer around, it's probably, and they're like, well, what should we do? Should we do a backdrop? I'm like, well,
They're all going to be empty boxes.
Well, it's going to be ice. It's actually even going to be worse because it's going to be IC beers and stuff like that. So it's going to be, quite nice. But
my question is, can Ezzy do a show while doing a keg stand at the same time? That I'm not. Can you handle that, or is the blood going to float? Is it going to flow to your head too much?
I'm very washed up now that I'm 41. My big partying days are behind me, but yeah, I can do it up.
There you go. So we're going to be at Farmery Brewing, number 2 Donald
December
Street,
16th.
Saturday, December 16th. So that's not this Saturday. That's 9 days from now. So you can look forward to joining us there for that edition of the Illegal Curve
that will not
Hockey
be
Show.
Spency's lunch.
No, that will
It'll
not
be Spency's breakfast.
It'll be Spency's. It'll be beer for breakfast.
Spency and I still have to figure out when we're going for lunch because we're both working.
Why
men
don't you go right after the show? December 16th.
Yeah, it's a good call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll go over real well. You're just going to leave the family for another hour, an
We'll
hour
get
and a half in the middle of a Saturday morning.
And
I can see. Yeah,
be a nice little afternoon for us.
Yeah, divorce will happen immediately afterwards for you too. I can't see any problems with this plan whatsoever that you're going for. But I enjoy.
Spency, do me a favor. Drop him off at 625 Nairn at KMMG because that's where he's going to need to go.
Naomi, I'm leaving you for Spency. She'll totally get it. I mean, I think she's seen it coming.
Yeah. She's going to celebrate it. Never mind. She's never mind going to get it. She's going to celebrate it. Who did I mention? I mentioned Boston Pizza. Seagram's, they're a great sponsor of ours. Rolly's Transfer.
And by the way, thanks to Seagrams, we had a lot of stuff to give away.
Gave a lot of swag
and
away
hats
tonight.
and stuff like that. So, our big thanks to our friends at Seagrams. Hold on.
There you
Hold
go. Turn it around. Make sure you get the logo on there. There you go.
Drew, what does that say?
That says Seagram's 83. Hang on, let me take my glasses off. See if I
see.
Got to squint a little bit. I'm not sure that's working any better.
Big fan.
Yeah. In any event, thank you to so many of our great sponsors for making this show a possibility. Thanks to so many people here live at Boston Pizza. So many of you
Each
watching
and every
us.
one of you guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
If you haven't already done so, smash the like button.
Drew's gonna cover everyone's bill, by the way.
But by which I mean I'm going to be the one dining and dashing as fast as I can possibly move. And you guys,
Actually, it's gonna be Timmy because Timmy's gonna take the longest.
That's right. Tim's gonna wrap up everything. It's gonna suck to be Timmy.
Producer Tim, it's on you.
Thank you to everybody for joining us. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave us feedback here, there, everywhere. Google Podcasts, iTunes, wherever you get the podcast. We want to hear from you. It's been a ton of fun. We love doing these shows live on location. Thanks to so many of you for showing up. We love doing it. So even when we're doing it from home and we see so many of you in the chat,
this is more fun.
It's always a great time. For Dave Manouk, for Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel, until Saturday at 9 a.m. Make some noise as I wrap this up, folks. We wish you good night and good luck. And thanks for joining us. This has been the Illegal Curve post-game show.